Yeah, pardon me. Yeah, and Leland, John Shinholzer says that he couldn't have envisioned 40 years ago when he was stepping on his journey to recovery that he'd be at the point where he is now, and says he was just trying to avoid going to the brig. But now, as he describes it, he is at the tip of the spear of the recovery movement and doesn't intend to slow down anytime soon.
Every picture, every book, everything tells a story in here.
Looking around John Shinholzer's office is like walking through a museum.
And this is just a drop in the bucket. You know, I got boxes of stuff.
And while many pieces offer a snapshot frozen in time, one is updated every August 10th.
There's all my one-year medallion. This is number 40.
As that date, going back to 1982, is when Shinholzer began his journey to recovery. For 10 years prior, from ages 13 to 23, he says he suffered from addiction, taking whatever he could to get him high. He enlisted in the Marines at 21, and 2 years in, with several strikes against him, his colonel came to him with an ultimatum.
But the colonel said, look, I'm going to give you a choice between a brig and a bad conduct discharge, or you can go to rehab.
He chose the latter and was connected with people he says were hope dealers.
I mean, they educated you on, look, you're not a bad person needing to get good. You're a sick person that needs to get well. You have an illness. It's called addiction.
Shinholzer finished with an honorable discharge and moved on to start a successful painting business.
I come from a painting family. That's my grandfather painted the White House.
And all the while continuing his own recovery, Shinholzer and his wife, Carol McDade, were helping others do the same.
We had a lot of folks hanging out at our house, sleeping on our couches. People were dropping kids off at our house because we had a reputation for helping people.
And in 2004, the two combined their passion for helping and their last names to create the McShin Foundation.
We incorporated, filed a nonprofit status, and got an office all in the same day.
Within 6 months, they moved from that office to their current home, the Hatcher Memorial Baptist Church in Henrico County, and have reached close to 10,000 people through programs in jails and prisons or in their recovery centers and houses.
If they need access to sober living, we can give it to them today. If they need access to medical detox, we can get it to them today.
And Shinholzer says their data shows 62% of their attendees remain in recovery 2 years later.
I have to say that he's been a lifesaver for a lot of people.
Among their earliest successes is Marvin Monroe. He says he'd been looking for a halfway house for some time while in jail in 2004 when he learned of the McShin program, joined up, and has been clean 17 years.
He was my mentor, and he actually saved my life. He did. I tell many people that all the time. And if it wasn't for John Shinholzer, I would not be here. I wouldn't. And that's for sure.
For Shinholzer, stories like Monroe are fruits of his labor.
I mean, that's the hit right there. That's why we do this work.
And Shinholzer, 64 next month, says he'll keep working until he's 70.
My purpose was to ruin my life with drugs and alcohol. Now my purpose is to make the world a better place for recovering people, and people need recovery.
Among his focuses are including more recovery voices in policy decisions and getting more support and reentry services in jails and prisons. And with many more years to serve, Shinholzer says he's looking forward to what the future will bring.
And I do believe my best work is in front of me. I mean, I feel like we ain't seen nothing yet.
Now, along what Shinholzer says he wants to do is check off his bucket list item of speaking in a jail and prison in all 50 states. He says he only has 6 left. As for that final medallion to mark his 40 years of being sober, Shinholzer says he'll be picking up that at an event on Sunday.